What's up, guys? Welcome back. Glad you're here. On today's episode, we're going to be looking at the newest deck release by my friend and one of my favorite designers. That's right. Who am I speaking of? I'm talking about the new Polyantha Playing Cards by Daniel Schneider and Black Roses Playing Cards. That's right, they're finally here, so buckle in your seatbelts, because we're going there. Let's go! The Polyantha Playing Cards were released by Daniel Schneider and Black Roses Playing Cards at the end of February 2019. This is Daniel's official 6th solo release since the original V1s were on Kickstarter back in 2017. This deck was originally crowdfunded back in 2015 after Daniel raised over €900 to print 102 of these with MPC. For those of you who are not familiar with the Polyanthas, the Polyantha is a rose species. The name Rosa polyantha were given by the German botanist Philipp Franz von Siebold and Joseph Gerhard Zuckeren in 1843 for a multi-flowered rose from the East Asian area. It turned out that the Swedish botanist Carl Peter Thunberg had already described the exact rose in 1784 as Rosa multiflora. However, none of this has anything to do with the deck, and there is no special meaning behind it. But Daniel's original idea was to name all of his decks after rose species, and after he spent a couple hours looking into different names of roses, it turned out that he decided to discard of the idea in general. The entire tuck case and left, right side, and top, bottom, the whole nine is covered repeatedly by the amazing Black Roses logo, as you can see. The repeated pattern, it gives it a really nice, clean, and sleek design look, making it very clean at first glance. The bottom of the tuck case is one of only 2 spots where you're going to see actual text font on the entire tuck. Daniel decided to put Polyantha Playing Cards on the bottom of the tuck because he didn't want people confusing the deck and calling it the Black Roses Playing Cards or the Black Roses deck. It does have a little bit of ad copy underneath that as well. The second and last location where you're going to see a signature here is on the inner flap, like all of Daniel's decks before, and I'm assuming after as well. You're going to see his little autograph there in the middle. Alright, this deck does come printed by the United States Playing Card Company on their crushed premium B stock. It does have an air cushion emboss as well as a traditional cut. This deck is also limited to only 2,500 print run and will never be printed again. This deck is designed for everybody from the magician, cardist, or player and is mainly aimed at the table guy. This is a borderless casino style back design, as you can see with that repeated Black Roses logo pattern on the back side of the deck. Also, this is a fully marked deck. That's right, you heard it. It is fully marked for suit and number. That's right, and with the purchase of your very own deck, you do get the marking system emailed to you as well. Alright, so with this deck, you're going to receive 4 extra cards. The first one, as you see here, is a cut card. It's an all-black card on both sides. The only difference is one side has the logo for Black Roses in white with no circles around it. If you're not familiar with the cut card, you can go ahead and Google that, but it's basically to make sure that the person who cut the card did, in fact, do so. The other 2 cards you're going to receive look very familiar if you're a fan of Daniel Schneider's and the Black Roses decks before. You're going to get the very iconic Jokers, this time in all black. Both the stems leaves, and the whole 9. These are identical and great to use in different magic effects as well. Speaking of magic effects, the last card you're going to receive is this very cool double-sided gaff card. One side is a 2 of diamonds, which you know is Daniel's favorite card, and the 8 of spades as well, for whatever and anything that you can think of. Alright, as far as the cards are concerned, one thing is going to pop out for sure, and that is the fact that Daniel decided to go bold or go home. That's right, he decided to strip all of the colors out of the deck, as you can see here, leaving only the white background of the pasteboard itself and the black pips and indices. That's right, even though they are industry standard, they are all black. So the spades, diamonds, hearts, and clubs are all black and nothing more. As far as the court cards are concerned, there are some new as well as returning faces, which you might notice as we go along. The Queen of Spades is holding a tennis shoe this time around, which is really pretty cool. The Jack of Spades is a friend, Pancho Zeladag. I'll link him below as well. The King of Clubs is David from Magic Orthodoxy, a fellow reviewer. The Jack of Diamonds is the famous Chris Orbit Brown from the Orbit deck. The King of Spades is Terry Addy, who's a staple in the Magic community as well as a mastermind and leader of stripper decks. The beautiful Queen of Clubs makes her return as always, holding a balazong like she did in the Innocence deck. The King of Hearts is Farid the Magician. Me, Mr. Disfunksinal Reviews, makes my return as the Jack of Hearts like the previous Red Roses deck. And to finish it all off, the King of Diamonds, Mr. Daniel Schneider himself. The main difference when it comes to the aces, besides the black and white colorway, this time around, the Ace of Spades is now sporting 2 black roses underneath compared to the single rose like we've seen in the previous deck releases from Daniel himself. It still has the 1902 underneath as always.
Alright, so what do I give this deck? I give it a 5 out of 5. Hits all the marks, right down the line. Me personally, not really the whole gambling demonstration guy or the table guy, but I want to be. You get to a point in anything, whether it be magic or anything that you do, you want to kind of dabble and learn everything. Kind of, you know, the jack of all trades, so to speak, right? No pun intended, seeing as that I'm the Jack of Hearts in this and the Red Roses. But anyway, I have been, doing more table stuff lately, riffle shuffles, table pharaohs, a lot of different things. I actually just ordered Expert at the Card Table. Like I said, I'm trying to learn more and more and more. So when Daniel spoke of releasing this years ago, I don't know why he never released it. It just wasn't time. But as of recent, when he said he was going to do it, as of last year, he said at the beginning of the year, I'm going to release it. What do you think? I said, that's amazing. It's a great idea. And he did so. And I love it. Me personally, never been a fan really of borderless decks or one-way decks. But as far as the borderless aspect, because this is a two-way deck, but as for this being a borderless deck, you really don't get that part. It's not really a borderless deck because it's white. A lot of you guys know, if you're using B decks, especially you have the red and the blue, when it hits that white card on the front, because you got that blue pattern that goes to the edges, when you flip a card the other way, you automatically see it when you're looking along the side of the deck. So that's one of the biggest pet peeves that I have with decks like that. But like I said before, it takes me back to being able to say, yes, it is easier to do, the classic pass or passes in general. It's easier to do, steals and things like that in other table demonstrations. So yeah, you kind of get the best of both worlds sometimes, depending on the deck. And this one is definitely up there with some of the best decks. Like some of the Daniel Madison collections and things like that. So yeah. So if you're looking for a good deck, like I said, a good deck that's gonna last you. You can use it for anything, cardistry, like I said, close-up magic, parlor magic. It doesn't matter. This is the one. So hey, what can you do? So yeah. So I do want to thank Daniel Schneider for, as always, sending out this deck to allow me to do the review. And as always, if you enjoyed this review as much as I enjoyed doing it for you, consider hitting that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you beautiful people on the next one.